How exciting is this AFL trade period? It's so much fun. I'm having a ball. There's so much activity. It's definitely worth all the time and all the Adam Cooney mega trades, you know. It's excellent. But anyway, welcome Sainers. Welcome back to Trade Talk on the Saints TV YouTube channel. It's been a couple of days. It's Friday, so happy Friday. I hope you've all had a fantastic week so far. I just wanted to do a bit of an update just to see where everything's at. Obviously, there's not a lot of movement, but just to keep you all in the loop, put everything in one spot. I thought it'd be best to just summarize it here today, round out the week, and then that's week one of the trade period done. And then we can go on to the next couple of days next week where probably the most activity is going to take place because nothing's happened just yet. So current status on where we're at is out. This is just overall out. Tom Campbell delisted, Matthew Allison delisted, Riley Bonner delisted, James Van Ness delisted, Seb Ross delisted, Josh Battle free agency in, pick 8 free agency band 1 compensation. Current 2024 draft picks 7, 8, 27, 46. That is where we're at. That is what we've got to work with, which is pretty damn good, but it could get a hell of a lot better. I say that because there's still movement. I talked about it the other day in a very, very big video. Pick 9 could be on the table. It could be in the works, Sainers. We could have 7, 8, and 9, as I mentioned in my last video. Now, that's all to do with what Essendon want to do with, obviously, their academy player in Kako and what they're going to do there. So, Matt Rosa, who is the Essendon list boss, I believe, was interviewed, I believe, yesterday. And they asked him specifically about pick 9. And you kind of try and read between the lines to see where they're at. And this is what he said. He said, we're still living in the space where we're assessing all our options. We have had some offers and interest in that pick 9. No shit. Whether it be for us to move back and potentially move into the future. And that's what we were offering. We're in a position where we've really got to listen to all opportunities. Clearly, as has been widely publicized, the pointy end of this draft is strong. It would need to be quite a special offer for us to consider giving up pick 9 at this stage, but we're listening to all options at the moment. So there was a part there where I thought, I don't think they mentioned it in this instance, but in the actual full interview, he does mention that because it's such a impressive top 10, they're pushing up to maybe a top 5 because they flagged could they do the deal with Melbourne. Melbourne are very unlikely to give up pick 5 because of how strong this draft is. And they want to replenish that team, obviously, because they've got some good aging players there, but they're aging nonetheless. But for us, we sit 2 picks ahead of Essendon. So we have all the power. And he mentions maybe pushing into the future. Maybe getting another first round pick next year. Give it up this year, get it next year. They could always bring that back into this year and trade back into 2024 if they so choose. But in doing that would give us pick 9. So that's a lot to play out. They said it might happen on draft night. I believe it's probably going to happen before then. You want to really know what you're playing with before then. But that, to me, is a positive sign. I think we're shaking that tree. I think it's gone up in percentage of likelihood based off what he said there. Next one is Tim Membrey, the player up in the air. Tim Membrey, AFL Trade Radio posted this today. In fact, this morning. This was Dan Daly on who I believe is at Brisbane, and he spoke about Tim Membrey, and he said, we haven't gone down the path of Tim Membrey. Obviously, there is 4 or 5 days left. However, I wouldn't say that he would be in our plans. Obviously, Joe Danaher's retired. I don't think Tim Membrey's a straight swap. They've got enough forward power, I think, Brisbane to probably just give the forward line to Hipwood. And they'll be all right there. But there is talk that Essendon could be in the frame. Stringer goes to GWS is the logic. Pick 50 odd, probably should get that done. And then Tim Membrey goes to Essendon for basically nothing, replaces Stringer in the forward line, is probably better output, more consistent. That seems to be a bit of a win-win, no-brainer there. So Essendon could be in it, but the other one that popped up last night that I obviously take with a grain of salt is Sneaky Sneak, who's like a trade rumours guy. He said Melbourne have tabled Tim Membrey a 2-year deal. So I've tried to confirm that with a few sources. They haven't heard about this deal, so I'm kind of just telling you that could be a bit of fluff. But Melbourne are one that from the start were looking at him. And they were looking at a GWS kid, and it doesn't look like GWS are going to budge on that. So Tim Membrey could be a pretty good, in case of emergency break glass type player. He could be one there. And if he's offered 2 years at Melbourne, he's going to take it because supposedly we've offered him 1. But if all of that falls through, then he probably just remains a Saint. And you know what? I'm happy with that. So I think either way, it's going to work for us. But obviously, Skunk wants 2 years, so I don't think he'll be happy having 1. But that's the way it is. He's had a good ride, and he's worked his butt off in his whole career. And a 1-year deal at St Kilda when next year could be pretty promising isn't that bad of a backup plan, to be honest. Now, the new one that's come to fruition over the last 24 hours is Sydney's Jacob Konstanty, I believe. He's without a contract for next year. He was picked 20, I think, in the 2022 draft. So that's huge. He is a small forward, likened to a young Tom Papley when he was drafted, 177 centimetres, very good around the sticks. He has met with St Kilda and Essendon over the last week. So he looms as a free swing for either club as a delisted free agent or through the preseason SSP period, although he's not delisted yet. So he's just without a contract. So I think this is very similar to like Jack Hayes going to Collingwood. They're kind of not delisting them and they're just kind of seeing where things fall, and then we'll decide on the plan there. So if we come to the party, I think that'd be really good competition to help grow with Collard. Obviously, Butler and Higgins are doing pretty well. Butler was a bit inconsistent this season. Higo, we know, is amazing and also can go missing. So I think stocking up on that small forward, sort of that unique position. Because when you think about it, we've got Collard and then we've got Higo and Butler. It's kind of, that's about it. So I don't mind if it costs us basically nothing. And Konstanty was a pick 20 2 years ago. You're not getting someone that was in the 70s and he's not going to show it. He's a player that Sydney identified 2 years ago and said, you could be the next Tom Papley. So if we can get him, I'll absolutely be stoked. He hasn't played a game yet. He's 19 still, medium forward. Age is on his side. He was top 20 pick, like I mentioned. I think that's a pretty safe option, although he hasn't debuted, but you just take that as almost a new draft pick. You've got this new pick 20 in, which I kind of like. And then the last couple, we'll just quickly gloss over. Jack Macrae, the Dogs and dog supporters really think that pick 27 or whatever it's going to be for us that in the 20s is going to get it done. No way. I don't think we're not going to budge on that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're either going to wait until the last minute and see who blinks first, and if the Doggies really want to keep him on his huge salary and not play him like they did this season. I know they played him, but he's not part of the future. If he was part of the future, this conversation wouldn't be happening. Let's face it. It's happening because he wants to get more opportunities. He knows that he's not going to get that many more opportunities next season. And it's just, he just wants to get out and change to a new club. So the Dogs are playing hardball. They can do that. You know what? If we don't get him and we stick to being as firm as we've been in this whole last couple of weeks, really ruthless, and we don't get him, but we get pick 9 and we get draft picks and we land 3 young guns, that's just as good. So the good thing is if we miss out on Macrae, I'm not going to cry about it. Years gone by, we've put all our eggs in one basket, Degoe, this and that, Dylan Shield, and we're like, if we don't get them, it's the end of the world. If we don't get Jack Macrae, you know what? It's all right. We'll be fine. Ivan Soldo is another one, and supposedly he's not done a medical yet, and everyone's fuming as to why, we haven't really spoken to him or we haven't sorted out Macrae yet. No deals have been done, by the way, so maybe that's a coincidence. Maybe next week's the week that all these things get done, but you're not going to fully get committed to a player before he's even done a medical, especially Ivan Soldo, who's had injury issues. So get the medical done, then worry about it. I don't mind us taking our time on these things. I think the draft, as Andrew Bassett and David Misson have explicitly identified, is the priority. So if pick 9 is on the table and we're spending this week trying to get pick 9 from Essendon, that's the priority. I would rather get that than worry about Macrae and Soldo right now, to be honest, because this is a good draft. And if you can have 3 picks in the top 10, you bloody try and get it. So I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on. There's a lot of moving parts, but that's the state of play, current status. Pick 9, is a chance. Tim Membrey could stay, could go to Melbourne, could go to Essendon. Jacob Konstanty doesn't have a contract at Sydney, picked 22 years ago. Small forward, Tom Papley-like, could be very good for us and cost nothing. Macrae, Dogs are playing hardball. Soldo, yet to kind of really get that going because we've probably got other fish to fry at the moment. So that's the news, Saners. That's trade week 1. Knowing me, I'm going to post this video and some news is going to break that we've traded in a superstar. But everything's looking pretty good from the club. I'm really happy with our performance in the last 2 weeks. Stirring up the media, getting the compensation, and now being really aggressive with pick 9 and playing the field and seeing what lands. So thanks for watching, Saners. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe as well. Let's hit 12,000 before the end of the year. And I hope you have a great weekend. So until next time, take care. And as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.